Hey guys, it's Jeremy here at Metal Music Meltdown, back with another video. We have for today, guys, is another ranking of the albums video. I did one of these about 2 weeks ago for Megadeth, but I've been doing so many album reviews, just getting swamped with albums I personally wanted to check out and review, and getting flooded with the new albums from labels that I found interesting I wanted to check out. But going into May, it looks like it's going to be a little bit slower in terms of albums that are coming out I wanted to check out. It's a bit of a slower lull. And depending on what the label sends me, I don't think there's going to be quite as many reviews as there was last month on my channel. So it frees up a little bit of time for me to kind of tackle some other videos like ranking of the albums, top 10 songs, things like that. Some discussion videos. So I wanted to do another ranking of the album, and I wanted to tackle the mighty discography of Motorhead. I've been wanting to do this one for quite some time. It was just a daunting task because they have 22 studio albums, and I love Motorhead. Easily a top 10 favorite band of mine of all time, maybe even top 5. Love all their stuff. Kind of a disclaimer before we get started. I don't think that they have a bad album, to be honest. They're just ones I kind of listen to a lot less than others, and some I'm really kind of drawn more to when I go back to. They have 22 albums, like I said. They formed back in the mid 70s. Everyone knows Lemmy was originally in Hawkwind. He was their vocalist and bass player. He unfortunately got kicked out of the band and then formed Motorhead. And like I said, I didn't include On Parole just because a lot of that stuff was recorded for the other album. So I just included the 22 in total. And I don't have all of them on CD. I think I only have about 7 or 8 of them on CD, but over time I definitely want to get them all. But let's jump right in, guys. There's 22. I'm not going to say too much about each album. I just kind of highlight my kind of songs I do like from the album. And like I said, I don't really dislike any of these albums. They're just ones I go back to more than others. And just ones get higher rotation and ones I kind of stream more, etc. So let's jump right in. At number 22, I went with Overnight Sensation. One of the albums I don't really go back to for these guys. I'm not sure why. It's got some decent tracks. Um, Silver War is a good song. Crazy Like a Fox, Eat the Gun. It's got some good tunes on here, but just one I almost never put on. It's just that kind of mid-period in their career what I just never really listened to. Number 21, I went with Snakebite Love. Just another album in the discography I kind of don't go back to. Love for Sale is a good one. Dogs of War, the title track, Assassin. It does have some good tunes on here, really good guitar riffs. But again, just one album from Motorhead I just never put on. I never owned it yet, but I will eventually. But yeah, just one I never really listened to out of their mass discography. Next one here at number 20, I have Kiss of Death, the release from 2006. Pretty good album, a little bit heavier album for sure. It's got One Night Stand, Devil I Know, Trigger. Again, some good tunes on here, but one I just don't go back to as much as the one ahead of it. Albums ahead of it, I should say. Next in line, we got here at number 19, Motorizer. I did listen to this when it first came out quite a bit. It was in 2008, but I kind of lost interest in it fairly quickly. I kind of went back. You'll kind of find as my list goes on, I kind of favor the earlier material more. But I did kind of dig this at the beginning. I did have some good tunes on here. Rock Out, One Short Life, When the Eagle Screams, some good tunes on here. But I kind of just lost interest in it in a sense that, not that because it was a bad album, I just preferred the other ones. And I kind of shelved it more and didn't go back to it as much. Next we got Rock and Roll. This is their 8th studio album released in 1987. Pretty good album. It's got some good tunes once again. Standout tracks for me would be Eat the Rich, Rock and Roll, the title track, Blackheart. Trader's pretty good as well. Pretty decent album, some good heavy riffs, good melodic moments in this one as well, but again, near the bottom just because I don't go back to it as much. Next I got March or Die from 92. I think a lot of people would have this a little bit higher than I do on my list. It is a decent album. I do enjoy this one quite a bit. It's got Cat Scratch Fever, Ted Nugent cover, which is pretty good. Stand is good. Jack the Ripper is a good tune. And Hellraiser is one of my favorite Motorhead songs that like Lemmy was part of writing. It's my favorite Ozzy Osbourne song, to be honest, and one of my favorite Motorhead songs. But again, for the album as a whole, it's just one I don't go back to. The next one you got here, number, I think 16. I have the latest release, Bad Magic, which was released in 2015. This came out literally about 4 months before Lemmy passed. Rest in peace, brother. But you can hear in this album, it's a really good album. In terms of song and the song quality and everything, I think it's even better than some albums I have ahead of it. But you can kind of tell Lemmy's voice was struggling. He was was really sick at this point, and you could hear it in the music, and it's kind of brings a tear to my eye every time I do listen to this album. Just really strong album to go out on, but you could hear his voice wasn't all there. It lacked the power. It was just a struggle. You could tell it wasn't the same, and it just kind of brings back the memory of that he's gone, and it has kind of a bad stigma attached to it for me. But otherwise, a really good album, really strong album to go out on. Next, I got the album Hammered from 2002. I do dig this album quite a bit. It's a very heavy album. This was popular because it has the Triple H's intro song for wrestling in this one, I think. It's called The Game. I think it was a bonus track on the album. Yeah, The Game. It's a bonus track when you buy the album. But that's the most popular thing about this album. But overall, it's a really heavy album. That's why it's a little bit higher on my list. But again, one I don't go back to as much as like the top 10. Next we got... I think 14. Is Sacrifice from 95. Really cool album cover on this one. They do have a lot of really cool album covers. Standout tracks for me on this one, the title track. War for War is really good. Over Your Shoulder is a good tune as well. Again, some really good bangers on here, but not one of my favorites from the band. It doesn't have those like really classic songs that I always want to listen to when I want to listen to Motorhead, but a good album nonetheless. And number 13, I have The World Is Yours, one of their later material albums from 2011. I really dig this album. This is one they put in, not nominated, they was in for Ronnie James Dio, was in memory of Ronnie James Dio. Really cool album. I got the special edition of this. Really good tunes on this one. Born to Lose, I Know How to Die, Devil's in My Head, rock and roll music. Just some really good songs on this one. This is one I do play quite often here and there. Not quite as much as the albums ahead of it, but it's got some really good songs, and one I dig from their latter career for sure. Next we got at number 12. I have Bastards. This is an underrated album in my opinion. It does have some really good tunes on this one, like Born to Raise Hell, Death for Glory, I Am the Sword, Burner. I like a lot of songs on this album. I think it's super underrated. I think a lot of people would have this a little bit lower on their list. I think it's a in the middle kind of album for them. So that's why I have it as part 12 out of 22. At number 11, I have Aftershock, another one of their more later period, second to last album in 2013. I really dig this album. It's my favorite from the latter part of their career. In terms of the songs, Heartbreaker is a really, really good tune. End of Time is really good. Death Machine is great. Knife is really good. Paralyzed is really good. Just some really good tunes on this one. Easily my favorite from the last part of their career. And one I do listen to quite a bit still. At number 10, I have Are Motrhead, their 15th studio album from 2000. Standout tracks for this one, Stay Out of Jail, Slow Dance, See Me Burning. The God Save the Queen Sex Pistols cover is pretty cool. Wake the Dead is a good tune as well. Really good tunes on that one. Enjoy that one quite a bit. And the next in line here, we got the self-titled debut album. Not their best album, but good enough to make the top 10 for sure. They didn't quite find their sound fully. This one's a little bit more on the punk side. But a really good album nonetheless. It's got the title track, Motorhead, Vibrator, White Line Fever, good tune as well. really good material in that album still. Next in here we got number 8. I have Inferno. One of the best album covers. I love the bright orange and the look of the snaggletooth mascot. Really cool stuff. Great album. Terminal Show, Killers, Suicide, Life's a Bitch, Fight. Some really good tunes on this one. One I haven't picked up on CD yet, but like I said, I eventually want to get all their discography on CD. But I do listen to this one quite a bit on YouTube, and it's a killer album. Really good stuff. It's hard to find Motorhead albums for a decent price unless you can find them used. But to buy them new, they're always like over 20, 25 bucks at least. But yeah, I gotta find them in used in like a shop or something and just grab a bunch of them at once. Next here we got, looks like number 7. We have 1960. Again, a super underrated album in my opinion. Really good songwriting on this one about the wars, and it's a softer album, a little bit different feel than their other albums. Has a different kind of vibe and kind of tempo to it. But I really dig this album. I think the songwriting is one of their best. The one who sings the blues, No Voices in the Sky, Going to Brazil, Love Me Forever, Angel City. Some really good tunes on this one. The title track's killer as well. Yeah, always been one of my favorite Motorhead albums, and in my opinion, super underrated. At number 6, I have Orgasmatron, their 7th album from 1986. Love this album. Always been one of my favorites. Death Forever, Nothing Up My Sleeve, Ain't My Crime, Claw. Just top to bottom, a really solid album. Always been one I've gone back to the most, one of the most in my Motorhead listening career. And I knew it was going to make around the top 5 or 6 for sure. At number 5, I went with Iron Fist from 1982. I love the title track. It's always been one of my favorite Motorhead songs. Heart and Stone, Go to Hell is really good. Shut It Down is really good. Speed Freak. Just some really good songs on this one, top to bottom again. Very strong album, and one I go back to quite often. At number 4, I have Another Perfect Day. This is the only album that had Brian Robertson on guitar from Thin Lizzy before this. A lot of people didn't think he fit the band. Visually, he definitely stood out like a sore thumb because the guys always wore all black and leather and black jeans and stuff. And then you'd see Robbo up there with like shorts and like a headband. Visually, he definitely didn't match the band's kind of aesthetic, but he really added a good, more technical playing to the band and more melody. I think there's some really good songs. It definitely still sounds like Motorhead, but he infused a little bit more melody into the music. It just sounds really good. Shine, Dancing on the Grave, Rocket, One Track Mind, I Got Mine. I love this album. Like, people flagged this album when it first came out, I heard, and kind of got into it more later, but I think it's a really solid album, and I think Robertson really added a dimension to their music that they kind of needed at the time, just to give them a little spark and a kick in the ass, and I really dig this album. Really good stuff. Number 3, I have Bomber from 1979. Love the title track, Dead Man Tell No Tales, Sweet Revenge, All the Aces, Step Down, top to bottom, really strong album. Always loved the early Motorhead stuff the best. I knew this was going to be in my top 3. And my top 2 have been my top 2 since I got into the band pretty much. At number 2, I have Ace of Spades. The title track, like many people I'm sure, was the first song that I heard from the band. I fell in love with it instantly. Still one of my favorite songs from the band. I never get sick of it. It's just under 3 minutes of pure heaven. Can't help but sing along, and the lyrics. Love Me Like a Reptile is a really good song as well. Fast and Loose, Jailbait. Just so many good tunes on this album. Just one of their all-time classics. Probably their most popular album in their discography. But my number 2 for me, because guys, number 1 has to be Overkill. Always been my favorite Motorhead album. Probably a top 10 album of all time for me. Come on, guys, it's like a greatest hits with the Overkill title track, with that double bass, one of the first uses of double bass. Stay Clean, No Class, Damage Case, Metropolis. Top to bottom, it's a perfect album. Every song's a banger. Easily my number one Motorhead song, and I think it always will be. It's just a killer album, and nothing really comes close to it in my opinion. So let me know down below, guys, how would you rank the albums, or at least maybe your top 5 or 10, if you don't want to do the whole list, of course. And let me kind of see how different my list compares to yours. I have watched quite a few of the ranking albums of Motorhead, kind of leading up to this, and it's definitely a band. There's a lot of a variety in people's ranking of the albums because people hear different things differently. Most people do favor their early material, I'd say in general, but sometimes people surprise you and put albums really high in the list or really low that you might not expect. It's kind of one of those bands that their albums are so good, it's really hard to rank them in 22 albums. So thanks for watching, guys. Let me know down below how you would rank the albums and give me some ideas for next bands I should probably do on my channel for ranking the albums. And check out my playlist. I've done kind of a lot of my key bands so far, but I want to keep doing these. I've done Metallica, Slayer, Exodus, Testament, Anthrax. I've done Motorhead now, Opeth, my favorite band. I've done Warbringer. I've done Chemicide, Havoc, the Beatles, Led Zeppelin. I've done quite a few bands, so if you're into this kind of material, definitely go check out my playlist. And please make some notes below of some bands I need to check out or to do the ranking of the albums up next. So thanks for watching, guys, and keep it metal.